to give them a little bit of a size advantage inside. He's a big body, 6'7", 245. And they need him definitely on the offensive and defensive rebounds.
No surprise, first two Roadrunners to touch the ball are Jackson and Wallace. But in the end, it's Mr. Double-Double from last night. Air Germany already cleared for takeoff early on.
I'm telling you, what a nice addition to this team. Jacob Germany has been fantastic on both ends of the court.
Slightly less flashy answer, but it's worth the same. On the opposite end, Jaron Pierre, your three-time freshman of the week already in Conference USA. Javon Jackson trying to test his range after knocking down just 2 triples yesterday. Jackson, 25 points in the victory yesterday. 11 of those came at the free throw line. And Southern Miss, though, a promising start, able to connect on their first trip down. Can they go 2 for 2? The answer is yes, and a nice touch out of the right hand of DeAndre Pinckney.
Well, Pinckney recognized the defense, cut inside to the paint, and that was an outstanding pass to give him a chance to make that knockdown jumper.
And when you want to double down on some Roadrunners, that's going to leave one open. That time it was Eric Parrish. Parrish is among the hundreds of student athletes around the country who are benefiting from the NCAA's determination to go ahead and make all transfers eligible this year. One of the leading reasons was simply for emotional well-being. After all these young men had been on lockdown like the rest of the country throughout the year, didn't want to make them have to sit out a season as well. So the traditional sitting out a year, waived this season by the NCAA to start this calendar year. Jackson off the mark, 0 for 2 to start today.
Well, Jackson has 2 early clean looks, Lincoln, for him, and hasn't knocked down a shot yet. Here's Draine from outside. That's a nice move there. He can hit that shot. If he can get comfortable early, that's going to be instant offense for the Golden Eagles here early.
The senior Draine had 8 points last night, averaging just under 10 a ball game this year. But a much better start for Southern Miss, already up by 5.
And you just got to think the emphasis was coming into this second matchup as a nice move by Jackson, that they had to kind of force the issue, and there's Wallace.
Keaton Wallace with his 4th triple of the weekend after knocking down 3 yesterday, and that ends a 7-0 run for Southern Miss.
You know, UTSA is just so tough to cover because you have 2 guys, 2 of the top leading scorers, and that's going to go the other way for the Roadrunners that you have to worry about. And when both are on, it's really double trouble, but Wallace seems to hit his shot here early.
Our officials today, Craig Murley spearheading the crew of Mick Fieldbinder and Ross Collins. So often we wait till they call a foul, which is only going to lead their popularity to be about 50-50. And Keaton Wallace, let's see if it's another K-Dub kind of Saturday. He's already knocked down a pair from downtown. Keaton Wallace, along with Javon Jackson, last 2 years have been your top scoring backcourt in the nation. And now a foot race led by Parrish. And just like that, after a 7-0 Southern Miss run, Roadrunners have responded with 8.
Well, they have so many guys on the perimeter. Their backcourt is just as good as any backcourt in Conference USA. And there's Draine again. He's a veteran, Lincoln. He just kind of senses the moment and comes off the high screen to get his shot again beyond the arc.
Ladavius Draine out of Calhoun City, Mississippi. Makes his 15th start of this final year. And Germany, after scoring the first 2 points of the ball game, chimes in with another pair. Now, I'm mindful that when we talk about seniors, we so often say their final year, their final chance to do things, but every single athlete on the court has been given a waiver to come back next year without any impact on their eligibility, whether they played this season or not. Some will choose to do so. Others will decide to move on. Some will have professional aspirations, both here and overseas. Wallace will have to settle for 2 triples early on.
Well, UTSA standing man-to-man defense, just trying to put a little pressure. But right now, the Golden Eagles setting some high screen pick and rolls, and Draine loses it here.
Jackson, little stop and pop. As we are still level at a dozen apiece.
Yeah, shot just not going down for Jackson, but he is a pure shooter, as pure a shooter as you'll see, folks, in the country.
He is the nation's leading scorer in terms of career among active players. Shot clock at 7. And with 4 to spare, able to be patient enough to wait for the perfect look for Tyler Stevenson. Stevenson in 36 minutes last night, 23 points, 10 rebounds for the double-double. That ball was deflected into the backcourt, where it's tracked down by the Oklahoma native, Jacob Germany.
And now you see the defense of the Golden Eagles off those high screens. They're going way, way over the top, especially on Jackson and Wallace, so they can't come off the screen with a nice jumper. And there's Germany again.
Boy, he showed up on campus last year with all the talent in the world. And the question is, how high would his ceiling be? And he has already taken big strides from his freshman campaign.
Nice pass.
Yeah, just perhaps an unnecessary dribble instead of going straight up to the glass. Ball turned over by Stevenson. Another stop and pop. This time gets it to drop Javon Jackson.
Yeah, I was just saying, folks at home, just wait a minute, because those shots will eventually go down, and he is not going to be discouraged if his first 3 or 4 shots of the day were missed.
First time I ever talked to Steve Henson about Jackson back during his sophomore year, he said the kid just rolls out of bed and scores.
I believe it.
Parrish dribbles off his foot, able to recover, has Germany underneath. It's always nice to have a near 7-footer. And despite 3 Golden Eagles in the area.
Well, that's just a nightmare matchup for all these teams they're going to play in Conference USA. You mentioned him at 6'11", just under 7 feet. He can do a lot of cleanup underneath the basket.
That's going to send us to our first break here in San Antonio.
The good shots right around the basket inside the paint, and they're 6 of 9 from the floor, and I think that's got to be the way the Golden Eagles stay in this thing. They're not known for shooting beyond the arc, but if they can get their mid-range game going, as there's a nice bucket falling down for Pierre Jr.
Southern Miss has brought a couple guys off the bench, while Steve Henson has already matched the number of players he worked with yesterday, 8. And nice speed inside, going straight to the rim. Phoenix Ford.
Now, it's kind of choose your poison, right? If you double Jackson, Jackson has the wherewithal and the awareness to get rid of the basketball, and he saw a cutting teammate to the rim there for an easy lay-in.
So Ford comes on the floor almost immediately in the scoring column. We also see Cedric Alley on for the first time, the former Houston Cougar, who, again, did not have to sit out this year with the NCAA waiver.
Tough shot there. That's not what they want. They want to be able to work it around the perimeter, maybe run some of this clock down here. Be patient to get a good look.
Try to work it inside to Ford. Again, we talked about how UTSA has 4 post players that they would be happy with. So how do you determine the minutes? Well, Steve Henson noticed early on in the season that little plus-minus column seemed to always favor Ford.
If you look at, especially with the 2 guards, you almost have to think about it when you're doing the substitutions here for Henson, that, hey, any mix-up or any kind of combination is going to be good, especially with Jackson and Wallace.
Alley, one of the newer teammates of Javon Jackson, knows where to go. I think Steve Henson was hoping somebody would cut to the lane there. Instead, Wallace finds the ball hitting the top of the backboard. It's deflected, though, off a Southern Miss hand. So this is going to stay with UTSA right now. A chance to grow a 5-point lead. Jay Ladner is going to dip back into his bench, bringing on Jay Malone. Malone making his 15th appearance on the year. Yesterday, we saw him 17 minutes, came up with 3 points when he knocked down his only shot from beyond the arc. There'll be 10 on the shot clock for Jackson. Baseline 2 won't go. A rebound into the arms of Denaje Harris. And quickly now to our second official timeout. It doesn't mean 24 hours later it's going to be the same story again. Remember, they blew out Middle Tennessee last Friday, only to have a nail-biter, despite a great start against Middle Tennessee again on Saturday. After a slow start yesterday against these Roadrunners, up to a much better start, still shooting 64%, though trailing by 5. A little 14-footer from the right elbow does not hit the iron, so it's a shot clock violation. That means no transition opportunity for the Roadrunners.
Yeah, that's pretty sound defense by the Roadrunners. And Denajay Harris, he got a little bit happy feet and got off his mark. And anytime you're falling back, you've got to be dead on, and that shot never had a chance.
So Javon Jackson bringing the ball up the floor. Wallace is going to head to the free throw line. First trip to the charity stripe for UTSA today. Yesterday, the Roadrunners as a team were 19 of 24, including Wallace was perfect 5 for 5.
Well, it's a small team on the floor for the Roadrunners, but this is a team that can really attack. As you see Wallace here knocking down the front end of 2. They all can get to the rim, but they all can shoot as well. And so this is a nice change-up by Coach Henson to get the matchup he wants, and that puts a lot of pressure on his Golden Miss defense.
7 points for Wallace. That was his first score inside the 3. And Southern Miss will pull it back within 4. Wallace, who has really beefed up, showed up as a 160-pound freshman. I know we're all envious. But he has added weight, and he has been determined to score inside around the rim more often. Not this time, a little step back. He's still got that silky smooth stroke from mid-range.
Yeah, and it's all about a mindset. When these two guys, Jackson, Wallace, hitting another jumper there, when they decide to be scorers, which they always are, it is a tough cover for anybody playing defense on the court here, especially this afternoon so far.
A nice job by Alley getting back to his man. Trying to look off the defender. Jackson still got a hand in the face. And UTSA has a chance to make it a 3-score lead. Javon from the corner.
Oh, boy.
Wallace to Jackson.
Yeah, and just like that, they kind of feed off one another.
And Southern Miss, who takes the fewest three-point attempts in all of Conference USA, about 12 per ball game, right now trying to match UTSA's game. Coaches often will cringe, but that time it pays off. Although we have seen 3 straight trifectas, 2 of them in the orange and blue column.
Yeah, this is what they do. They're one of the top 3-point shooting teams in the country.
Can Southern Miss continue to play this game?
Yeah, that's the thing. They can't get lulled into that type of game. I think they've got to play close to the vest here and play inside.
Well, Cedric Alley did a nice job in the lane, defending tightly without fouling. And the Roadrunners, for the first time today, can make this a double-digit lead. Remember, it was almost already a double-digit lead when the game tipped off yesterday.
Yeah, and they fell behind 30-13 at one point in that first half. And
both teams shooting 60% before that miss from Alley. And Wallace will deflect this over to his teammates on the bench. It'll stay with the Golden Eagles. As Jay Ladner will go back to a couple of his starters, DeAndre Pinckney as well as Jerron Pierre.
Well, you just think with the Roadrunners, the way they can score the bucket, they're nearly 77 points per game. And if they can have any resemblance of some field goal defense against some opponents are shooting pretty good against them and scoring nearly 77, 78 points a game. And if they can cut that down, this is a tough team in Conference USA to play not only in the Convocation Center but also on the road as well.
Yeah, I think every coach in Conference USA knows this is a scarier team than a 2-5 conference mark would show. They played a much improved Rice team, both games in Houston to start January. And then, of course, they split with the defending champs, North Texas. Another difficult trip out to Ruston. But all of a sudden, the Roadrunners feel right at home. Power dribble inside. They'll get a foul over the back against Eric Parrish.
Well, this is a veteran group here. As Draine noticed, and hey, I've got my big guy cutting in there. Let him get to his spot. Gave him a good entry pass. And this team didn't panic. They didn't panic last night, and that's how they clawed back into the game. And This is how they can stop the clock, Lincoln, get to the free throw line, make their free throws. They were 85% or better last night, and this is how they're going to have to chip away.
Pinckney this year, a little better than 50% from the charity stripe. Now 9 of 16 on the season. Jacob Germany will come back on, along with another large presence in Adrian Rodriguez, both getting the start today, both from Oklahoma.
You see Coach Henson switching a little bit. He went from the small ball lineup, and now he put some heft in there, but he's keeping Wallace still in the game because he's red hot.
And back to a 7-point affair. We talked about some Oklahoma recruits. Of course, Steve Henson came from the staff of the Sooners. Coach Henson himself, a former K-State Wildcat. Germany. You know, he's practiced that a handful of times. That time, though, can't come away with the score. And he'll bang bodies down low, and I think they'll get Germany for the foul here against Pinckney. Steve Henson said one area for Germany to continue to improve, since he's already perfected the receiving end of alley-oops, is just banging bodies more on defense. That time, though, guilty of the foul. Coming off a double-double yesterday with 11 points, 11 rebounds. Germany with the board there.
That's a quick shot there by Draine. He falling away from the three-point line, and that come the other way are the Roadrunners, and they're going to always set up and try to get this look here. Now a 2-3 zone here.
Juice able to connect on his first effort. Yeah. Jordan Ivy Curry.
And that's dangerous because you go immediately to that 2-3 zone. Boy, you better get over there and cover because you've got shooters still on the court here for the Roadrunners.
Just a 25% score from beyond the arc in his freshman campaign. His coach loves how coachable Juice has been after being a tremendous, prolific high school scorer outside of Houston at Lamarck High.
Well, that's just outstanding defense right here.
Shot clock at 1. Off in time, not a good look. Germany with another rebound.
Boy, that is a good defensive set there by the Roadrunners, denying the entry pass, making it tough for the dribbler to make any kind of move with the ball.
And a man we did not see yesterday, but a regular contributor, is Eric Zumbel, who continues the Italian.
They made the adjustments, but just like that, when you have some shooters like Wallace, obviously Jackson starting to find his stroke, boy, just like that lead jumped to 10 points. And here they are again, the Golden Eagles trying to play chasers.
Just 4 men have scored for Southern Miss so far, but Draine has 11 to lead the way in this contest. Wallace for the Roadrunners with 9. And we'll be stuck on 9 a little bit longer. Both teams shooting better than 50% still. Inside 7 minutes to go till halftime.
Yeah, the Roadrunners are 50% beyond the arc, too. That's really, really good also. That's a nice move inside. And, you know, again, this is where they've got to make their hay here. They've got to get into that paint, make it very tough, get to the free throw line if you can.
Pinckney was able to get inside, suck in an extra defender, and find Stevenson for the stroke. Down to a single-digit lead for the Roadrunners.
Yeah, good communication there by the Golden Eagles on those high screens. Everybody has to be on the same page because these guys are looking to shoot coming off those screens.
Wallace felt a little contact, then leaned back for the shot off the mark. Luka Barisic in the ballgame for UTSA. Germany able to close in time. Jacob Germany, opposite end. Barisic will set up a second chance opportunity. Looking again, second time already that Jordan Ivy Curry is able to connect from long range. His head coach talks about the healthy confidence the freshman arrived with on campus. You've got to have healthy confidence knowing that you may not always get as many touches as you want with 2 of the nation's leading scorers on your same team.
But you know what I like about it? He's putting a lot of energy on the defensive end, and he's getting rewarded there, Lincoln. The last 2 possessions by the Golden Eagles, last 2 or 3, I'm telling you what, Curry has been lights out on defense and knocked down threes.
Barisic unable to join the three-point parade just yet. Ivy Curry yesterday had arguably one of the biggest shots late in the game as Southern Miss had finally pulled within 1 score before he knocked one down made it a 2-possession ball game, and also ended a Roadrunner drought along the way. As the Golden Eagles right now down 11. And they're going to call a kick ball, which keeps it here. You would think we would encourage more of that during a pandemic.
Well, yeah, you never know now these days.
but they still prefer the bare hand to touch the ball. Keaton Wallace will get a breather.
Well, they really need Stevenson to step up. He had a great game last night, 23 points in 36 minutes. Yeah, they need him to step back up and get his game going.
Going right at Germany. It pays off for Mr. Tyler Stevenson. Somebody was just talking about him.
Well, I think he's the X factor. I think he's the one guy, aside from Draine, these are two veteran players that can keep this thing going and keep them in striking distance. That's the thing. UTSA is going to score with the best of them, but you can't panic. You got to play your game.
Germany just off the mark. Roadrunners, one and done. And Jackson, boy, he was firmly planted. And basically, everybody just held their breath to see whether or not that charge would come.
You don't see many scorers like Jackson really not shy away from contact. He is really good at that. If you really watch him over the course of this few seasons, he does a great job defensively in drawing those charges. It's just another little arsenal, another little touch in his game.
Lucas still has not found his range. Roadrunners lead at 3 possessions, up by 9.
Well, are the Golden Eagles going to remain patient? Are they going to work it, try to get that good look? You don't want to get into a shooting contest with the Roadrunners.
Stevenson gets his own miss. Germany may have gotten a fingertip on that follow-up, but it still goes home. Timeout, UTSA.
They've taken away a lot of the outside shooting of the Golden Eagles and played some sound defense and really, really making it tough for them to try to cut this lead down, even though they have it down to 7.
Yeah, points off turnovers was an area where Southern Miss had the decisive advantage yesterday, despite coming up short. And they're going to get a foul here on Kanunchuk, who got the start for the second straight day. Sophomore out of Estonia, one of 2 Estonian natives. Played in a basketball-related academy over in Prague before coming over to the States. Jackson touch pass. Germany can't handle it initially, and they'll have to reset. Roadrunners have cooled off below 50%. Now 47% shooting from the floor. Shot clock is at 3. And with just a little time to spare, that's an air ball. And that means you've got to take it out of bounds.
Yeah, that's a nice job by the Golden Eagles. They play great defense, not giving this Roadrunners shooting offense a clean look at the basket, making it tough to the very end.
Well, it's a Southern Miss offense that Steve Henson said in part resembles a UNT team that the Roadrunners have already seen because they do so much in the half court. But Southern Miss will give you a variety of unique looks. It'll be an unpredictable group on the offensive end, and they're going to count the bucket and let Kanunchuk go to the line.
Well, here's another guy that can give them that instant offense as well. Kanunchuk at 6'8", can shoot the three-pointer. Yeah, I watched him at the beginning of the game. He was knocking about 5 or 6 in a row, but he can put the ball down on the floor too, and you see they're getting into the rim almost.
Just the second trip to the free throw line for a Golden Eagle today, as Kanunchuk will shoot just 1. And it's a 3-point play. Roadrunners' lead is down to 2 scores, down to 4. Wallace with a hand in space. Wallace has been stuck on 9 points now for the better part of the second quarter of this ball game. And another turnover by the Golden Eagles.
That was a good look by Pierre Jr. Passed just a little bit too much for Stevenson, but I like the idea of them, in transition, looking to score right away on fast break points. Didn't get it there, but just showing you that they have that capability.
That shot clock violation 2 possessions ago for UTSA is officially their first turnover of the ball game. And officials letting them play.
Yeah, it's a good defense a couple of times now here back-to-back for the Roadrunners, for the Golden Eagles.
Nice job dropping it down. Can't get the bucket, but a couple of free throws coming up for Mr. Stevenson.
Yeah, you just see the energy kind of going back towards the Golden Eagles now. And, I've always wondered that. When you beat a team the night before, what is your mindset coming in? Do you get a little bit lax knowing that you did it? Or do you still have that killer instinct to go ahead and try to close it out and sweep them? Right now, it looks like the energy is back towards the Golden Eagles as they seem to be the aggressors.
Golden Eagles spent their morning instead of at a local high school gym or here at this arena or some other rec center like many other road teams throughout college basketball this year. And that's putting down some tape in the ballroom or meeting room of your hotel, as getting out on an actual basketball court is hard to come by when you leave your hometown and hit the road. Obviously, everybody who has a gym, understandably, is very protective of that gym.
Or you go to a park and find an empty net out there, maybe.
We have seen a lot of teams just make the most of their walk-through areas. Team managers bringing lots of tape on the road with them.
There's another turnover there for the Roadrunners.
Stevenson. A chance to tie. And it's a brand new ball game with 73 ticks left on the clock.
Well, Draine continue to be hot beyond the arc. He's 4 of 5 beyond the arc.
He's got 14 points, game high scorer so far.
Well, I really think they brought the intensity on this end. On the defensive end, the Golden Eagles really clamped down, jumping over the top of screens. Tough shot by a top scorer in the country, knocks it down.
Javon Jackson will inch the Roadrunners back ahead. That is all of a sudden his third connection from beyond the arc. About 11 seconds separates the two clocks to close out the opening half. Shot clock at 5. Draine, step back. And you almost expected him to be able to knock that one down the way he has played with 14 points. That's just his second miss from any
here.
12.2 seconds to go until halftime. Javon Jackson's three-pointer a moment ago, the difference on the scoreboard. And now 3 seconds to go. It's going to be back over to UTSA. Jay Ladner's dad was a very successful high school coach in the area, and one of his pieces of wisdom for Jay was, my one piece of advice is don't get into coaching. So Jay went into pharmaceutical sales for a while and then eventually could not avoid needing to scratch the itch. Jackson, and he's going to draw a foul at half court. That may not be the worst foul if it's going to be taken out of bounds. And that is the case.
Yeah, you just don't want Jackson to have the momentum and put up because he's got range well beyond the three-point arc. This is a good foul to give, and now you can set your defense, and it's going to be tough to get a clean look with 1.1 second on the clock.
Jackson. Javon Jackson does it again.
Oh, wow.
Jay for Southern Miss with a game-high 14 points, made 5 of his first 6 shots, including 4 three-pointers in the opening half. And Tyler Stevenson, not too shabby, chiming in as well with 9 points, second on Southern Miss today.
Yeah, the Golden Eagles just can't get into a jump shot shooting contest because that's just not their MO. Their MO is to slow the game down, play great defense, and then work it around and get that high percentage shot. Now, they're shooting at a pretty good clip there, obviously, in that first half, 54%. But can they continue? I don't know. We know the Roadrunners have the firepower to certainly do it.
Mentioned Draine is 4 for 6 from beyond the arc. The rest of the team 0 for 3 from beyond the arc. Again, a team that attempts 12 per game, already at 9 attempts in that first half. As the first look here in the second half comes from Kanunchuk. And off the mark, still a 6-point lead for the Roadrunners. Well, it sometimes seems like an embarrassment of riches to have these two guys who've been in the same class, and Keaton Wallace and Javon Jackson. But you think about it, if one of them is cold, chances are the other one's going to have a streak kick in.
Isn't that something else? But more times than not, here lately, they both have found their shot. Now, Javon Jackson started off 0 for 3, 0 for 4 to start this game, and then he got red hot.
Kanunchuk thought about it. Stevenson on Germany underneath the backboard.
Wow.
And Rodriguez has it ripped away. Thought he got a block, but they'll get a foul on the body.
Well, good job by Germany. you had a shorter, a little bit quicker player up against, but he maintained his footing and made that little short-range jumper very, very difficult. But nonetheless, the Golden Eagles going to get some free ones here.
Roadrunners have gotten off 7 additional shots in this game, despite being out-rebounded 20-14 so far. And all those second-chance opportunities have only yielded 2 second-chance points in the game for Southern Miss. Now, another free throw pending here for Pinckney.
Well, that 16 points in the paint is where they've got to make their living. And if they can do that, get to the free throw line. They've got some guys that they can knock it down.
And he makes the most of his 2 efforts from the free throw line.
Nice matchup there. You got Draine on Wallace, so keep an eye on that matchup there. Good pump fake. Wow.
Jackson able to bank it in. It'll count the same as he just had that big toe behind the line.
You know how difficult that is to pump fake and watch a guy go flying by and still have the confidence and poise to knock down the 3 ball. Wow.
Yeah, there's that last part that's the hardest part where the ball actually goes in.
Exactly.
We can all replicate the other part.
Boy, just a pure shooter.
Again, here's the beefed up Keaton Wallace off the front of the iron. Kanunchuk with the rebound.
You know, Keaton Wallace, he has that quick release. So if you play defense on him, you're worried about him maybe dribbling by. But just like that, he can get that shot up so quick.
He's about 30 pounds heavier than when he arrived on campus 4 years ago.
Deep there.
Yeah, nice job getting in down low to Pinckney, who had Rodriguez pinned underneath the basket.
Well, it's just for the Golden Eagles. It's equivalent to a boxer, right? You hit those body blows. There's Wallace with an up and under.
That was a great pass from Rodriguez. Wallace just can't capitalize to give him the assist.
And these Golden Eagles have to continue to go to the body, which is the paint. But if you can do that, Stevenson, that's in his range.
He becomes the 3rd Golden Eagles in double figures, joining Pinckney and Draine now, as Stevenson with 11 has pulled the Golden Eagles within a score.
This is where they've got to be good down here, the Golden Eagles. And Kanunchuk with the body check there. But that's a tough cover for Kanunchuk, because if you look at the athleticism there, certainly he can get, Eric Parrish can get to the rim. That's good recognition, too, by Parrish, knowing that he had a slower defender and he could try to dribble penetrate, and he drew the foul.
Javon Jackson, again, was stuck on 6 points for the longest time. Right now has the team-high 15, game-high as well. Roadrunners could be watching that lead evaporate again. And 2 UTSA teammates fighting each other for the rebound. Germany prevails. Jackson fighting off a screen. He welcomes that contact. Pinckney stayed glued to him and got the block. 3rd block already on the day for Southern Miss.
That's just good team defense. Pinckney recognized that his teammate was beat, but there comes the 3 ball back the other way. Pierre Jr. with the stroke.
Jerron Pierre, as a freshman, is shooting better than 42% from downtown now. That time his defender drifted off of him and nobody picked him up. Freshman made him pay. And anytime the game gets tied, Javon Jackson says, nope, let's go ahead and inch back ahead.
I mean, what do you do? What do you do as a defense? Because you're going over the top of the screens. Sometimes you go under because you don't want them to dribble penetrate. But when he pump fakes and then takes the step back three, that's almost unguardable.
18 points for Javon Jackson, but more free throws coming up here for Southern Miss when you. Stevenson's first. Able to go home. A 63% free throw shooter this year. And 2 for his first 3 today. Now, if you believe in math, he misses this one.
Oh, don't jinx him like that. Oh, Lincoln.
I told you not to use my real name.
Oh, man.
Roadrunners hang on to a 2-point lead.
Well, if you're the Golden Eagles, you got to feel pretty good.
Wallace is left open.
Yeah, but as soon as that happens, you get that good feeling. Just when Jackson may miss, here comes Wallace as he finds a stroke beyond the arc.
Wallace with a dozen joins Jackson in double figures. They've combined for 30 points, 9 triples along the way. And a walk, the call on Pinckney.
Yeah, Pinckney kind of got himself in no man's land, and it's all about the footwork when you get close to the rim as a big man, and he got himself a little bit out of control.
Jay Ladner disagreed.
Golden Eagles still playing man-to-man defense. They're gonna hang their hat on that, because anytime they would even resemble a zone defense, it's too good of a shooters for the Roadrunners. Shoot them out of that zone. There's an open look there. It didn't fall.
Nice job keeping it in play, but gave it right back over to the Roadrunners. Count the bucket for Cedric Alley Jr., and a free throw still coming up. Well, when you save a ball going out of bounds, there's one place you don't want to throw it, and that's right back into the paint where the other team might get to it.
Yeah. Got a very athletic team on the court for the Roadrunners, so they're going to be scrapping and in the right places at the right time. And Allen Jr. there. Alley Jr., I should say.
Cedric's 9 for 12 this year. Limited trips to the charity stripe. And Roadrunners will settle for his made field goal. Alley now down low is one of the better defenders, according to his head coach, Steve Henson, along with teammate Keaton Wallace. As the rebound that time to Phoenix Ford. Alley's a powered forward, but they're more than comfortable having him defend guards on the other side of the court.
Nice job getting back on defense by the Golden Eagles. Knutchuk cutting off the baseline that Wallace wanted to take.
Jackson, a little no-look wraparound, and just not on the same page with Cedric Alley, and perhaps they do complete that pass and that connection if there's more non-conference games that are on your schedule this year.
Right.
A lot of these players, this is the story around the country, even though we're a month into conference play around the NCAA, a lot of these players are still getting to know one another.
Yeah, it looked like Jackson may have thought Alley Jr. was maybe cutting a little bit closer to the basket. Timing was awful on that. But this is a team that hasn't turned the ball over much in this game. And again, showing you the other side of Jackson's game. He's unselfish with the basketball, and his teammates have to be ready because he and Wallace draw so much attention.
They're going to get a kick on Wallace, who denies that entry feed. Again, 3 Golden Eagles in double figures, led by Draine, who had 14 in the first half, scoreless so far here in the second. 18 for Jackson, 12 for Wallace for UTSA.
Yeah, you got to hit that shot. That's where his bread and butter. If he's right around that elbow, he's got to be able to knock that down, especially inside the paint.
Keaton Wallace, mid-range 2, no, and a foul after the shot. I believe is going to send Ivy Curry to the line. Again, we're seeing Javon Jackson run the point. That's something he assumed last year when Giovanni De Nicolao, one of his Italian teammates, opted to go pro with a year of eligibility left. They brought in the newest Italian in Zumbel for UTSA last year as a freshman. some of the point guard responsibilities, but half the time it seemed like Jackson was also bringing the ball up the floor. But you imagine they would love to have both Jackson and Wallace playing off the ball whenever possible, but in order to have the best 5 on the floor, they like Javon bringing it up.
Well, it puts instant pressure on the defense because now you've got Jackson bringing the ball up, and somebody's going to have to pick him up right away. And if you pick him up a little bit too early, he can go around you. But if you play back, that gives him a cushion to take the shot. And if you double team him, he's got the ability to dish it off to an open teammate.
So instead, your third guard is Jordan Ivy Curry out there playing off the ball. He's got 8 points today, including those free throws a moment ago. Speaking of juice.
How about that?
Another freshly squeezed 3-ball.
Ivy Curry coming in. Welcome to the three-point shooting party, youngster.
Southern Miss pulled within. Again, a 10-0 run for UTSA. Southern Miss trying to snap a drought. We saw Roadrunners in a couple of droughts yesterday that allowed Southern Miss to mount a comeback. But much like today, couldn't get anywhere closer than about a score.
Yeah, this is the point of the game here for the Golden Eagles. They've got to really hunker down here because you don't want to let this get away more than what it already really is. And each one of these possessions now, especially as you get close to 10 minutes left in the half, you got 12 right exactly now. You got to make these possessions count. That's a good take there by Draine.
Aggressive drive from Draine, who gets his first 2 points of the second half, team high 16. Along the way, collecting 6 rebounds today. Javon Jackson, it was a slow start. He's got your game high 18, and then there's that guy. It's more like having 2 Batmans. I don't know if either one's Robin.
Yeah, I was always wondering that, right? I feel like both guys are equally as dangerous.
They're going to say not established outside the restricted arc. So instead of
bench, and he's riding this game out so far with his little 5 to 6 man rotation and what it looks like here, but maybe a little bit more than that.
First free throw is good for Justin Johnson, just his 6th free throw attempted on the year. He's now made 2/3. And Justin has his first 2 points today. And with it, the first 2 bench points for Southern Miss. Wallace among 3 Golden Eagles. That means at least one teammate's open, but cannot make him pay. Ivy Curry off the mark. And how about transition game on display from Southern Miss?
Well, I really like that mentality there by Jay Malone. He saw an opportunity on the fast break chance here and gets to the rim, and that's what they have to do. They've got to seek the moment, see a little gap, and try to get to the free throw line and cut this lead down a little bit.
It's the second personal foul on Javon Jackson. He and Germany each with 2. Parrish has 3. Kanunchuk also with 3 for Southern Miss. No other foul concerns for either team. And all of a sudden, a 6-point ball game. Javon Jackson, the buzzer-beating 3 to end the opening half. Came out on fire to start the second half.
Boy, that's just pretty.
And continues the good times.
Boy, that's just well, I don't know what else you can say about it. Set up the high screen there by Germany. And even with the spin around, able to keep himself composed and square up and knock it down.
Javon Jackson from Bayamon, Puerto Rico. Before calling the Dallas area home, went to Trinity High School in Euless, Texas. That's where Miles Turner played his high school ball. They go inside of Germany. They're going to get a push. That is a defensive pass interference if I've ever seen one from DeAndre Pinckney.
Where's the flag?
Look, you can face guard, but if you make contact without looking for the ball, yeah. So that's going to be a spot foul.
And no reviews on that penalty, by the way.
8-point ball game. Well, you say that. The delay here is just getting a new ball.
Oh, do we sanitize that one?
Ideally. Or just bury it. Not quite midway through the second half. Javon Jackson's last score gives him a level 20 points. Keaton Wallace, a modest 12. Oh, big screen from Rodriguez frees up Wallace. Germany! Well, he's 6'11", and the wingspan probably even more generous.
Well, hey, that's what he brings to the table. And any of those loose balls coming off the rim at 6'11", and the way he can jump out of the gym, you saw there with a nice tip in. And this is a very interesting lineup here as that pass looks like it's going to go the other way. It's a turnover there by the Golden Eagles.
A little too crisp, looking for Draine cutting through the lane. Ivy Kirby's going to get a breather. As UTSA has reestablished a double-digit lead.
Well, now you see with this lineup with the Roadrunners, you still got Jackson and Keaton at the guards, or excuse me, Wallace at the guards. Now you got a bigger front court.
The left-hander won't go, but it does go out of bounds off the Golden Eagles. UTSA should have a fresh shot clock here. I say that, no, yeah.
Yeah, it should be, it hit the rim, should start to reset. I don't think it matters.
He's silky smooth.
And he's fading away, and he's fading to his left and still squares up. And it's probably one of the better pure strokes you'll see at any level.
It's just the second time he has scored from the floor inside the arc. Now back to his old ways. And able to salvage this possession. Tracking that one down, Parrish.
You got Germany, you got Rodriguez in the front court, so you've got the big bodies down underneath, but you've got a very quick, athletic backcourt, and Wallace and Jackson and Parrish in the game as well.
And they're going to just hang on to the ball a little bit longer if you don't mind. Wallace to Germany. Count the bucket. Free throw coming up. A little 6-0 run for UTSA and a chance to add one more.
Well, it's an underrated part of Keaton Wallace's game. We know he can shoot. We know he can dribble. But it's the assists. It's the extra pass. It's the unselfishness underneath the rim. You want to get your big guys involved at every chance you can get. And Germany here has a chance for an and one.
Speaking of big guys, Kanunchuk's going to come back on for the first time since picking up his third foul. Jay Ladner didn't feel like he could keep him on the bench any longer. In a 14-point affair, it's an 8-0 run after Germany got that last two to fall. And a chance to stretch it to 9-0. Germany, one of 4 Roadrunners in double figures today. As he's got a baker's dozen. It's a UTSA team that started 2-4 in conference play. Or pardon me, 1-5 in conference play. But they can leave this weekend with a lot of confidence that they can move up those standings over the next month. Kanunchuk. And a positive punctuation there from Johnson.
Yeah, that's a good shot, and that's where they got to go. They got to continue to do it. Johnson giving him some minutes. Draine finally getting a breather. He's played 31 minutes in this game.
So we'll have enough to score 20 or more. Still almost 8 minutes to go. Lincoln Rose, LaDarren McClain with you as back inside to JJ. That left-hander again just won't fall. And last touch by Southern Miss.
You know, it's 1 year to have the scoring be second in the nation in scoring, but to do it consistently back-to-back, Wallace and Jackson, that's nothing short of remarkable. The consistency that they have set and the standard that they have set, it's pretty awesome.
They can both come back next year if that's what suits their future the best. that would not be kind to the record books at any level.
Be almost like padding stats there.
Arguably their best year was their sophomore campaign that unfortunately ended with an injury to Wallace at the end of the year. And a foul underneath as I believe Stevenson's now just one rebound shy of a double-double today. Down by 13. Kanunchuk.
That's a nice job there by Kanunchuk. They need his energy now. Need him to give him that a little bit of that outside, but that toughness inside as well. That's a good take there.
And he's playing with 3 fouls. Has to be careful not to commit number 4 on the offensive end. Wallace, 8 on the shot clock. Nice defense by Southern Miss. UTSA may just have to settle for firing one up. And ultimately just one look for the Roadrunners.
Well, nice job defense there by the Golden Eagles. That's what they got to try to do. A lot of energy expended on the defensive end.
Aggressive take to the hole. Nice half so far for Justin Johnson. The junior from Fort Lauderdale started his career over at South Georgia Tech before becoming a Golden Eagle.
Well, he's only averaging right around 13 and a half minutes coming into the weekend. If he continues to play like that, you have to think Coach Ladner is going to have to go to him a little bit more often. But sometimes you just need to get a guy off the bench to just give him a chance. He gives him a little bit of spark here. Couldn't make that free throw there.
Was eyeing his 7th point of the game, just off the mark. But he has Southern Miss back within 3 scores. Ivy Curry is going to be called for stepping out of bounds. You know, with teammates spread out, kind of can lose track which line is which. Optics are a little different in 2021.
Boy, it is. Especially when you come down here, that baseline of the three-point line, there's not a ton of room. So you got to be extra careful and mindful of where you are.
Kanunchuk lobs one down low. Body's tied up. Good luck figuring out who's actually guilty of fouling the other, but they're going to give the tiebreaker to the offense.
Wow, what an aggressive pass inside by the Kanunchuk. Had confidence in Stevenson to go battle and get that thing, and lo and behold, Lincoln, he's going to be shooting free throws here.
Another one of those pass interference calls. Here's Stevenson with 12 points, 10 rebounds, looking to add his double-double, as they're going to need even more from him over these final 6+ minutes. So shooting the 1-and-1 here is Stevenson. 2 for 4 today from the free throw line. And he'll get another opportunity as well. Southern Miss, last postseason trek, of course, everybody shut out last year. They were in the 2019 CBI, their last NIT back-to-back in 2013 and 14. That followed their final NCAA tournament appearance back in 2012. And the Roadrunners able to salvage the rebound following the miss.
Well, you know, the Golden Eagles just got to find a way to get it done on the road. 1-12 last season. This year, they're 1-4 coming into this weekend. And so, obviously losing last night. They just got to find a way to get it done. Oh.
Little offensive tap back after the miss from Ivy Curry. There's Phoenix Ford.
Now Phoenix Ford coming in, getting some valuable minutes. 6'8", 2 1/4. Redshirt junior.
Back to a double-digit lead for the Roadrunners. Javon Jackson able to get fingertips to break up that dribble. 3-on-2, 1-on-1, 1-on-none. Cedric Alley driving to the hole. Feet getting tangled up. And that time the ball bounces the Roadrunners' way. Wallace And no second chance points this time. Kanunchuk running point for a moment there.
Get it done.
Little offensive tap back after the miss from Ivy Curry. There's Phoenix Ford.
Johnson had Phoenix an easy Ford layup. Coming in, getting some value. I like the unselfish basketball, but man, if you got a clear layup to the, or a dunk even to the rim, go ahead and try to take it.
So again, the clock stops. Southern Miss at the line. They don't mind this. Down by 12 inside 5 minutes to go.
2 1/4. Anytime you can add points at this moment in time and still stop the clock, try to climb your way back in this game, you got to take advantage of it.
Harris this year making about 2/3 of his free throws. Getting out of Columbus, Mississippi. Started his career over at Southwest Mississippi Community College. Coming off a 6-point performance yesterday, playing about half of the game. Roadrunners had a 6-point lead at halftime. That lead right now has grown to 11. Javon Jackson will ask for the timeout after crossing the timeline. And Steve Henson from Pinckney today to go with 6 rebounds. Javon Jackson called that last timeout to talk over this possession and perhaps how to close things out with the foot down on the pedal for the Roadrunners. It's not a team that specializes in taking time off the clock. Lob to Wallace, a tad tall.
Almost. That's a nice drawn up play there. Is a little bit too high by Jackson on the pass.
If Jacob Germany wasn't on the exercise bike right now, he probably would have had that.
No doubt. I think he could touch the top of the rim, the top of the goal, actually.
With his head. Kanunchuk matched up with Wallace. Good positioning, and Rodriguez just can't stay on his feet. Will commit the foul. It's going to be the 9th foul against the Roadrunners, so free throws continue to favor Southern Miss here. They're 13 of 18 today. Roadrunners have attempted 6. Again, that has nothing to do with how our officials are performing today. That's just contrast of styles. If you're not a team that is attacking the rim a lot, and the Roadrunners have not needed to as they've knocked down 13 threes, not going to be quite as many trips to the line. Pinckney will earn himself the back end.
Well, one little trend that's in danger for the Golden Eagles is when they shoot better than the opponent. They've been 6-3 this season. Well, now if you're starting to look at it, they're shooting a little bit better from the floor overall than the Roadrunners at 48%, the Roadrunners at 42%. They might be in danger here if they can't close this gap.
Well, Southern Miss has not won a game this year that they weren't leading at halftime. Yeah. Of course, they were down by 2 scores today. That doesn't mean they're not allowed to, but at the moment, that's the trend.
Well, you got a little zone defense. Very dangerous against this team.
Jackson measuring one high off the glass.
Yeah, he got bumped there.
Would have given him an honorary degree in geometry if that one had gone home. 32 shots to just 18 for Southern Miss.
Well, that's not going to get it. And even though they were getting to the free throw line and shooting 75%, at some point in time, you got to increase your point output. And they have not been able to do that. And UTSA has kept the gas pedal down.
That's their 13th offensive rebound now. UTSA has already matched the 33 shots they put up in the first half.
And you think about it, rebounding is a mindset just like it is on defense. It's not a bigger team for UTSA, but they just know how to get in position when the ball is up and when it hits the rim. They're just a step quicker to the ball, and that pays dividends because if you can get those offensive rebounds, man, those second chance points start to pay dividends.
Little home court roll there for Jordan Ivy Curry. Steve Henson loves having Curry out there on the floor because he keeps the ball moving. He doesn't mind him slowing things down right now. And 1 of 2 will make it a double-digit lead. Juice. And now a foul on the opposite end. And both teams are going to be shooting free throws the rest of the way. The difference is Southern Miss will be shooting 2. Roadrunners are still having to earn the second attempt.
Well, if you're, Southern Miss, you'd like to maybe cut this lead in half, get it to 6 or 5 points with about a minute and a half left to go. That makes it a 2-3 possession type ball game. But you got to make these points count. When the clock is stopped, you got to make these free throws. They've been shooting relatively decent so far. And now it is go time. You got to make this thing happen.
Stevenson with 14 points to match the number on his back. Now 15 points. Didn't get the memo. But again, has a double-double today. Full court pressure on the Roadrunners. See if they can make them pay on the opposite end. And Javon Jackson was fortunate to be all the way in the front court when he hauled in that pass. Another offensive rebound. Those taken away. Draine Pierre goes to the rim at Jackson. And it's going to be more free throws with the clock stopped for Javon. I believe that's his third. It is. So nice job defensively by Pierre, the New Orleans native. Again, a 3-time Conference USA Freshman of the Week already. Rasheed Wallace chiming in somewhere. Chance here. He does make one of 2. And the full court pressure continues.
There they go, just trying to force a turnover. They've been really good with the basketball here this afternoon, the Roadrunners have, and they make quick work of that press there.
And the Roadrunners can take as much of this time off the clock as they like. Up by 7. Narrowly a 3-score lead with still 10 on the shot clock. Oh, just mishandled. They'll never get a shot off. Looking to go inside to Ford. Can Southern Miss continue to cut into this deficit, and instead of a walk, it's a foul. And that means more free throws for Pierre.
Well, they're going about it the right way, right? And not a whole lot of time off the clock. You're down 7 points. They're still on track to really make this interesting as we go less than 2.5 minutes in the game.
Golden Eagles probably feel like yesterday they just ran out of time.
Yeah. And, when you use a lot of energy, especially when you start the game off, the way the Golden Eagles did yesterday, not only is that physically taxing, but it's mentally too. But now they were certainly gamers, and they had to have some heroics late in the game by Jackson and Ivy Curry.
Down to a 2-possession ball game. Back within 5. And Roadrunners have plenty of guys who can bring the ball up through traffic. And Germany, let's see if he just waits for help. Instead, a foul. Not sure if that was what they wanted, but Ladavius Draine gets the slap on the wrist.
Yeah, Golden Eagles just kind of hanging around, right? Just kind of making it a little bit interesting. And now if you're the Roadrunners, those free throws when you had a 10, you had a 12-point lead. Now that it is 5, get a little tight now, and Germany misses there.
That's where the problem is with it just being a 1-1, even though Germany is an 80% free throw shooter this year. He'll get the rebound. Southern Miss cannot cut any closer on that trip down.
That was a good look. It just didn't go down. You like Pierre Jr. to be aggressive and get to the rim. Just didn't go down. And they got to tighten up down here on this end.
Final 2 minutes of regulation. Southern Miss did come away with an overtime victory in El Paso to kick off conference play earlier this month. Jackson.
Man, tough shot.
Another victory there for Southern Miss. But still down by 5. Timeout. Golden Eagles. Jay Ladner with 21 on the shot clock. Going to draw something up here with 10 or more. UTSA defenders slapping the court, looking for their 3rd straight stop. Chance to make it a one-score ball game.
Yeah, Malone in the game. You got another ball handler out on the perimeter. Little dribble penetration, good defense by the Roadrunners.
A little too fancy. You call a timeout to draw that up. A little underhand feed to Stevenson, deflected, and the Roadrunners can take more time off this clock.
Yeah, that looked like the plan. Coach Ladner had 3 guards that can handle the ball. And if they got a matchup, dribble penetration, hoping to get a nice little chippy close-range bucket, but the defense was there.
And Javon Jackson's going to the line, still to shoot the 1-and-1.
He just knows all the tricks, right? You know when somebody's checking you, and Pierre was all on him. That little bit of pump fake that he did kind of sold it just enough for the official to make the call.
If you've been keeping track of how many free throws Javon has attempted today, chances are you still have 10 fingers left.
He doesn't need to get to the charity stripe. He's been 8 of 18 from the floor, and
his first one today is good.
And he's been almost automatic from three-point. 6 of 10 from three-point is just incredible in 36 minutes so far.
Gives him 23 on the day. Wouldn't mind tacking on one more. Kanunchuk just came back in the ball game, gets the rebound there. It is still a 2-score ball game.
Got to think pretty quick here to score.
Any foul from UTSA is a pair of free throws. Germany denies at the glass.
Big fella.
Southern Miss, you'd imagine, is going to have to foul. Jackson will have 2 free throws coming up. It's probably not the person they wanted to foul, although he did miss one a moment ago. He's going to be shooting 2 here as he was in the act.
I just tell you, this is a different Roadrunner team. Now you've got a rim protector in Germany, and that really leads to a nice transition, and he misses the front end or misses that there. Yeah, we're still here, guys.
So, of course, the great volleyball coach at UTSA, Laura Groff, she's got her team kicking off their rare spring season because of shot clock will be turned off for the rest of regulation. Southern Miss needs 3 possessions for a comeback.
You see Coach Henson, he's got the pressure, not making it easy at all to get the ball up the court.
Germany with another block. His first 2 rejections of the game, timely. This will stay with Southern Miss.
And this is why he's such a versatile player. Not only he can be a rebound machine and he can gobble up nice putbacks around the offensive end, but his presence, the rim protector presence, has been outstanding.
Got to fire one up.
Good
Goes
shot.
down. Mission accomplished. Need another stop and a couple of scores.
And you got Alley Jr. Those are the 2 lesser of the free throw shooters right now for the Roadrunners. And you're right, if you can't get that steal, you got to go foul one of those 2 guys.
Wallace being reminded he can run the baseline, and Kanunchuk's going to pick up, I believe, the foul. It'd be his 4th. They look like they didn't want to foul there, but can't imagine that was the case. Roadrunners could have taken 8 seconds in the backcourt, even if they then turned it over.
Yeah, I don't think they wanted to foul Ivy Curry.
Well, it's still going to be a 2-possession ball game, even if both these free throws go down. As first one is good for Ivy Curry. He's got 13 points. The fans who have made their way out for this limited capacity game cheering. 75 points means a free hamburger.
Where's the hamburger?
Here in San Antonio.
That's a big thing.
Who are you to question a free hamburger?
We get a hamburger.
Still a 2-possession ball game.
Got to get a shot up.
Too much time. And that's not one of the 3-pointers you needed.
No. That was a lot of dribbling. They needed to take the quick shot at the 3.
So 3.3 seconds. It's still a 2-possession ball game. Free throws coming up for Cedric Alley. Alley this year has been battling some bumps he's taken throughout the year, but Again, his defense has never been in question this season as one of the new road runners coming over from the American, former Houston Cougar under Kelvin Sampson. Came in today a 75% shooter with limited opportunities from the line. And now 1 for 2 today from the charity stripe. Still a 2-score ball game. Multiples of 3. Roadrunners are going to sweep the weekend. Their first sweep in Conference USA. The shot was not off in time to make the score a little bit prettier had it been